live on YouTube and boom. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Industry Talk Podcast. We are live. Shout out to TikTok, shout out to Instagram, shout out to YouTube, and everybody listening on Spotify and iHeartRadio, or watching the video, or listen to it in the car while you're on your way to your post or you're leaving your post. I'm here with you. I'm Jazz, the CEO, your lovely, lovely host. And guess what, everybody? This is season 8. Can you believe it? I've done a season of this podcast for 8 years, or maybe less than 8 years, and I just started over times. I'm not really sure which one, but I have definitely been doing this for about 8 seasons, and each season is different. Each season is absolutely different. The first season we ever did this, my first guest was Yo Yo. Some of y'all might be too young, y'all might not understand, but my first guest was Yo Yo, and then my next guest was Rakim and Eric B. Yeah, and then I was live streaming from a Gary V conference. Like, yeah, this podcast has had a lot of iterations, but the thing that has stayed consistent and that has stayed the same is that it's just about bettering yourself, in your business, in the industry, whatever that may be. Sorry, neck brace. I need things to be a little higher. um, so this season is no different. This season might be structured a little different. I'm going old school with it. I want to go more of a radio show style. So you guys can comment in all the chats. I will answer questions. I will read your comments and respond. But you can also, on a regular basis, call in. So if you want to drop comments and you want your story shared or you want something shared, don't worry about it. I will definitely be reading the comments as we go in the chats. But this is episode 1 of season 8. So welcome in. This episode is uh called Professional Judgment Under Pressure. This is professional judgment under pressure, the decisions that end careers. Now, this is something I've been teaching in my webinars, and we're on like webinar number 3 this week. So that's 3 weeks. I've been teaching this in my school community, decision making, judgment, decision making under pressure, things of that nature. And so the situation that has come up um, recently is a really good topic for us to discuss in this podcast, because it really falls in line with the making decisions under pressure, making um, good decisions, while you're on post, and how these things affect you, or how these things ruin your career, or in your career, or sometimes even in your life, right? So this episode is about the decision that could end your career. And I mean, I'm going to just say this: nobody prepares anybody for some of the decisions that we have to make on post as security officers or private detectives, as owners, as managers, supervisors, etc. Right? Nobody really prepares us. We can have a lot of training, and a lot of people like training that running and gunning, and who can pull out of their holster faster, and who can do this, who can carry their gear, who can. That's all fine and dandy if that was the most important thing that you needed while you were on duty. And it really isn't, because that is training you for something that you've already decided to do. But what about deciding to do it in the first place? When do you pull your firearm? When do you put hands on somebody? What happens after? What do you do after? What do you put in your report? What do you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, the decision to train for pulling your firearm is great, but most of the time you're not even deciding to pull your firearm. That's not even the decision that you're making at that moment, is the firearm. The firearm is last. Now you have to decide, is this something I'm going to choose to do right now? Is this what I should do? Is this what I should do? And that's what we teach in our PJDP program, to make these decisions, because You got to think back. Like let's take a moment and everybody just think back about what's the hardest decision you ever had to face on shift. What's the hardest decision you ever had to make on shift, right? Think about it. Like, did I do the right thing? Did I say the right thing? Did I leave feeling like I didn't do enough, or I did too much, or I didn't say enough, or I said too much? What is that decision that you had to make on post that was the hardest decision? I want you to drop something in the chat and tell me, like, what was your hardest decision on post? Whether you were just an officer, whether you're an investigator, whether you're police security, or you own a company and somebody else made a decision that affected you, because that's what the video was that we dropped yesterday. We dropped a video saying that all your officers' decision don't just affect them, they affect you, your contracts, they affect your insurance, and they affect your reputation. These officers have to understand that their decisions don't just apply to them. Then they have to understand that owners make decisions that don't really have anything to do with them. I've had people hit me up like, hey, you did this, or hey, I'm out of this, or hey, you did it. Yeah, but that is a decision based off many other factors besides you. It's not all about you, and vice versa. There's a bigger picture happening here, there's a bigger situation happening here, right? So we can just jump right right into today's topic, today's case study, I rather say, today's case study. Whew. All right, let's get started. I'm just going to read it right off the paper. See, I got my papers. So, maybe a few months ago, not really sure. I think a few months ago, um, there was an officer arrested. Yeah, there was an officer arrested for slamming somebody into a car, into a window of a parked car outside the Cross Street Public House in September 2025. Okay, he put the man in a chokehold and then he slammed him into a window of a car. Whose car? I don't even know. I wonder if he had to pay for that car. And that is where we're going to stop. That is a decision. He chose to do that. I watched the video, as I assume most people watch the video. Did he have to do that? Was that something he had to do for his safety? No, it absolutely was not. It absolutely was not. Now, I'm not one to judge somebody on what they choose to do, because I wasn't in that situation and I don't know what I would have did in that situation, right? We don't know what we would have done in those situations. But I know I don't want to go to jail. I know that. I know for sure that putting somebody's head through a window is a excessive force. This is common sense. This is not something that can you got trained to do. And somebody told you, hey, somebody yell at you and don't listen to you, throw their head into the window. Nobody said that to you. That's not a thing. It didn't happen. Nobody said that to you. And the fact that you thought that it was a good thing to do just lets me know that you've never trained. Take de-escalation out of it, because sometimes de-escalation don't work. I'm an avid de-escalation person. I'm like, hey, we could talk our way out of this, we can move our way out of this, we can gesture our way out of this. I'm all for that. But let's be serious, sometimes it just doesn't work, especially on somewhere like Cross Street. Okay, when you got a bunch of drunk college people who already have some entitlement, who already don't want to listen to you, who already have a lack of respect for you and what you do. Before I get on the people, before I get on the people, let's talk about the officer. I do not know this officer, okay? I do not know all the details. That's my disclaimer. I don't know all the details. This is just my opinion as someone who's owned their own company for 6 years, who's been in the business and been a security officer, private, federal, etc., for over 20 years, okay? That's the disclaimer. None of this is like super fact besides what I'm reading in the article, okay? Choosing to throw somebody's head into a window is absolutely ridiculous. Okay. Period. All right. So you chose to do something super stupid. And then who do you work for? This is why everybody is upset about the way that training is being done. And you got to do all this in person. And you got to do this, that, and the third. Like, It's because of people like this. They throw these little t-shirts on. Half the time they're either too big or too small. It says security for no reason. Okay. Then you go to these bars, you go to these restaurants, you go to these clubs, and you know what? I don't know what happened to the bar or the club, but they need to be fined and they need to be held accountable too, because stop hiring so you can get the lowest price possible. Oh well, I can just give this person $50 or $100 and I don't have to pay extra fees and insurance and all that. I can just stick him at the door. He's a big black guy. Let's be serious. That's what they do. I'm gonna get the biggest black guy I can find who let me give him cash at the end of the night, and I'm gonna put them in a security t-shirt and I'm gonna put them at the door. Oops, he just threw somebody's head into a car window. And what's crazy is he, if I'm remembering right, it wasn't even a full-fledged like fight. It was more so of a get out, push, and he's drunk coming back like, nah. But you can obviously see that this security person could have beat him, which he did. But in the long run, the guy won because he sued. He pressed charges. But you have to size these people like it's not worth it, bro. Push him out, go back in, close the door, call the police. They not doing nothing. Call them. Use them. I tell people at all my sites, use the police as your partners. They might not think so and they might not know it, but it's their job to show up and it's their job to come. Maybe they won't, maybe they will, but use them as another resource. You do not have to go face to face with a college student who thinks their trust fund or their status or who their parents is going to get over on whoever you are and matters more anyway. So I'm not going to argue with you because I can already see what you think and what you can tell, and you're drunk off these beers because beers hit your belly differently than liquor. Okay, it hit different demographics differently than liquor. So I'm not going to argue with you. I'm going to throw you out. I'm going to close the door. I'm going to keep it moving. You keep trying to come in, I'm going to call the police on you. They're already around there. There was no reason to escalate it, right? So that's why this season is about that professional judgment under pressure. That's why it's about that professional, having that professional judgment under pressure, because everybody doesn't have it. Everybody act like they know what de-escalation is, but when it's time to implement it and execute on it, they have no idea what it is. What do you think? Do you think that de-escalation and judgment go hand in hand? Because even if I de-escalate, I had to decide to do it. That's a decision. That means you used your judgment. But if you don't have judgment, then you probably won't make the right decision. You're not gonna know when to talk, when not to talk, when to escalate, when not to escalate, when to walk away. He should have just walked away. Here's the rest of it. Here's the rest of it. The security guard charged with assault after a viral video captured him choking a man outside of a bar in Federal Hill has been sentenced to 9 years of incarceration, suspending all but 5 months. Not going to say his name, pled guilty, and he's 41, guys. 41. Bro, you going to jail at 41. You did not leave the house and say, I'm going to go to jail tonight. I feel like I need, some free room and board. All right, 41, pled guilty to first-degree assault charges. He also received 3 years of probation and mandated anger management therapy as a part of his sentence. He got off. I'm really glad that he got what he got, because it could have been worse, right? The sentence could have been worse. They were trying to give my man 9 years for throwing this man into the window. 9 years. Bro. 9 years out of your life. Thank goodness they suspended it all and only gave him 5 months. But all of this because of the lack of judgment on his part. And we can't say that it was adrenaline or he was drunk, or no, he's the professional here. So he wasn't drinking, hopefully. But then I think the one report, I'm gonna have to double check this, so correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I don't think that he was licensed. And that's another issue. You're not taking the mandated training, you're not taking extra training, and you're not training for what you need to be. Put the firearms down and start training for this. Start training to have empathy in your decision making. understanding timing, understanding de-escalation and escalation. And yes, I see the comment. Yes, I have a book on de-escalation. Y'all can definitely hit me up in the DM and get that book. 35 different tactics that you can use to implement de-escalation, written by somebody who was born a butthole but has empathy. Here you go, right here. Give it a TikTok, Insta, de-escalation. Here's your manual right here. Most people do not train for this kind of stuff so that it sits inside of your brain and you can use it automatically when it's time. This is probably 40-page book, 35 different things, some stories, some tactics, verbal, physical, mental, that you can use, that he could have did 35 other things he could have did instead of choking him. You can't really see the picture here. There's a picture. They used the screenshot of the video. Okay, the screenshot of the video of him in a chokehold. A chokehold has been illegal for police officers to do in certain departments for many, many, many years. Many, 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 many years. Sir, why do you think that you're any different than the people who get paid to choke out people? Like, seriously, you're not. You're not. You're not any different. So the choke was the first bad thing. The choke was the first bad thing. So now we just not just choking. We're choking, and after we choke him, we slam him into a window. It's crazy that was. So anger management, he's probably not even an angry guy. He just a guy who he doesn't need anger management. He needs to train professional decision making under pressure. And all of us need to do it. I trained in it and now I'm teaching it because it's something that you don't think about until it's too late. Let's keep going. He turned himself into the police after a video went viral. Let's stop there. Let's just stop there. I want officers, investigators, owners, anybody in the industry, any side of the industry, whether you're a bouncer, a bodyguard, whether you're just a security guard at a desk, whether you're working outside, inside, I want you to understand that we are in the world of social media. Social media. That means everything is getting recorded. You're recorded on CCTV. You're getting recorded on somebody's phone. You're getting recorded on a body camera. You're getting recorded on a Tesla. If you are in an altercation and there's a Tesla in the parking lot and you walk past that Tesla while you're cussing somebody out on duty, that Tesla is now picking up that recording, and that recording will be used against you, whether they leak it on social media, whether they use it in the case against you. Just understand that you're being recorded from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet all the time. So that has to be in the back of your mind all the time. Like, okay, is this going to play well on video? Is this going to play well on live stream? Is this going to play well on social media? Is this going to play well in court? Can I articulate my decisions? Sir, why did you chokehold him? He wasn't listening to me. So now we're talking about ego, like somebody commented earlier, Tim. Now we're talking about ego because you're mad because he didn't listen to you. So now you're putting him in a chokehold to show your dominance and your strength. And now you got to do that in jail. That was a bad decision. That was a bad choice. That was a bad decision. But it might not be his fault. Under the pressure of it all, people watching, people saying stuff, the people who you work for telling you to do your job, him aggravating you, all of these things is what pressure means. Doesn't just mean in a fight, it means pressure. Things caving in on you. Things caving in on you. Do your job. Get him out of here. Do this. Don't do that. Don't do that. But I'm recording you. I'm recording you. Oh, my ego, my thought process. I can't pull any emotional tools to make the correct decisions. And him, F you, calling you all kind of derogatory. I'm saying this, I'm saying. All of that is pressure. And when it builds up, it blows up. right? So I can't even tell this guy